If you're trying to break into cloud security, you already know that skills are what get you the job. But how do you prove you have those skills? Well, in this explainer, we are going to build that proof. We're going to turn a concept from a career roadmap into a real, tangible, resume-ready project that gets you noticed. Let's dive in.
So let me ask you a question. What's the one thing that can quietly, silently open the door to a massive breach and often goes completely unnoticed until it's way too late? It's a fundamental slip-up that cloud security engineers are on the hunt for day in and day out.
You got it. It's excessive permissions. Giving a user or a service way more access than it actually needs to do its job. So in this explainer, we are going from theory to practice. We're not just going to talk about it. We're going to architect an automated tool that acts like a detective for your cloud.
Let's call it the automated auditor. Just think of it like a script that is tirelessly 24/7 scanning your environment, looking for those little clues of overprivileged access. The kind of stuff a human might totally miss. This is exactly the kind of project that makes a hiring manager sit up and pay attention. Now, the tech stack for this is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly powerful. We're using Python as our engine. It's the go-to language for cloud automation for a reason. Then we have Boto3, which is the AWS software development kit. It's basically the bridge or the translator that lets our Python script talk to AWS services. And our target, that's AWS Identity and Access Management, or IAM, the service that controls literally who can do what inside your cloud.
And there's a reason we picked Python. The source material for this whole explainer points out that Python experience is a huge advantage for anyone trying to become a cloud security engineer. So this project isn't just about some abstract concept. It's about building one of the most in-demand skills in the entire industry.
All right, let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how our little digital detective gets the job done. We're going to walk through a really simple demo. What goes in, what happens inside the script, and of course, the crucial security finding that pops out at the end.
So, what's our input? What are we looking for? Well, our auditor is hunting for IAM policies that grant way too many permissions. And the most dangerous example of all is a policy with an action of ** on a resource of **, what everyone in the biz calls **. It's literally the digital equivalent of a master key that unlocks every single door to every single room in the entire building. This is the smoking gun we're looking for.
So how do we find it automatically? That's where our Python script takes over. To put it simply, it logs into AWS and uses Boto3 to make a few API calls. First, it asks IAM, hey, list all your policies. Then it just loops through that list, one by one, and peeks inside each policy document to see if that super dangerous ** permission exists. It's really just a simple loop, but man, is it effective at finding this critical vulnerability. And here is the payoff, a clear, actionable finding. Our tool flags a violation, in this case, administrative access. It tells you exactly what principle was broken, the all-important principle of least privilege. It highlights the specific threat we just mitigated, preventing an attacker from escalating their own privileges. And finally, it gives a clear recommendation. This right here, this is what security is all about. Finding, understanding, and then fixing risk.
Okay, so we've built a tool. Big deal, right? What's the actual real-world impact? This is the crucial step, where we connect a simple script to real, tangible business value and prove that we get the bigger picture of cloud security.
And here it is, in one number. A project like this can slash the time it takes to manually review security policies by at least 50%. By automating this really tedious task, you're not just finding risks faster, you're freeing up valuable engineering time to go solve bigger, more complex problems. Now that's a metric you can put right on your resume.
Really, at its heart, this project is a masterclass in one single concept: least privilege. It's the simple idea that you should only ever grant the absolute minimum permissions needed for something to work and not a single permission more. By building a tool that actively hunts for violations of this rule, you're showing not just that you can recite the definition, but that you know how to enforce it in a real cloud environment.
Now let's connect the dots and see the full picture. Your Python script, it runs in a Linux environment, relying on the operating system. The IAM rules it's auditing, they don't just float in space. They operate inside a virtual private cloud, which is protected by networking controls. This proves that your automation, driven by Python and Boto3, is securing a core service like AWS IAM within a much broader infrastructure context. This is that holistic view that employers are desperate to see. So finding existing problems is great, but you know what's even better? Preventing them from ever happening in the first place. This is how we level up the project and shift from being reactive to being proactive.
This is really the evolution of security thinking. Our audit tool is reactive. It's like a firefighter putting out fires that have already started. The next level is to become proactive with something like an IAM policy analyzer. This kind of tool would plug right into the development pipeline and check policies before they're ever deployed. It acts like a gatekeeper, stopping risky configurations from ever even reaching your production environment.
And this shift from just reporting on violations to preventing them entirely is the absolute essence of modern DevSecOps. Showing that you can think this way is a massive differentiator. You're not just cleaning up messes, you're building a system that stays clean from the start.
Now for the most important part. How does this one project translate into a professional career? How does it become the centerpiece of your portfolio, your ticket to getting certified and ultimately hired?
This roadmap lays it all out. You start with a solid foundation in skills like Linux and networking. Then you build this audit tool as your specialization project. It becomes the bridge, that hands-on proof that turns your foundational knowledge into the specialized expertise you need for a top-tier certification like the AWS Certified Security Specialty. And here's why this project is such a powerhouse. For certifications, for interviews, it proves you have deep IAM knowledge and real hands-on automation skills. It shows you can tackle major cloud threats like privilege escalation. And beyond just security, the findings from this tool can be logged and used as audit evidence, directly supporting compliance standards like ISO 27001. You're showing you're not just a technician, you're a partner in governance. So there you have it, a complete blueprint for turning a single project into a career launchpad. We've covered the what, the how, and the why. You've seen how one well-designed project can prove you're ready for a real-world cloud security role. The only question left is, what are you going to build?